Whatever it takes, I know I can make it through. A Degrassi podcast with Kelsey and Holland too. I know I can make it through.
Hi, and welcome to Whatever It Takes, a podcast about Degrassi, the Next Generation. I'm Kelsey.
And I'm Holland, and today we're talking about Season 11, Episodes 24 and 25, Don't Panic. And Kelsey, will you please read us the Degrassi YouTube summary?
Sure. Drew asks Katie out on a first date, but Katie is torn because her best friend Marisol still has a crush on Drew. Sav and Ms. O collaborate on some tunes. Can Sav and Ms. O make beautiful music together? After his onstage meltdown, Eli is trying to deal with his bipolar disorder, but feels he must make amends to those he's hurt. Also, I would like to mention that they hyphenated bipolar. So it's bi-polar.
Not how that works, but okay.
Nope.
Also, I fucking hate the Sav, Ms. O part of this episode so much.
Ugh.
Also, Drew and Katie started on an episode that I'm pretty sure neither of us actually watched, so
Correct.
It was kind of weird to jump in on that.
Correct.
I was like, oh, they met during Taekwondo? Okay. Sorry, Allegra just shouted that, of course, we were there for that episode. What are we even talking about? Anyway, the episode is called Don't Panic, which is a 2000 Coldplay song. It's like early Coldplay. It's yellow Coldplay. I remember this song because my mom loves Coldplay.
Honestly, it doesn't surprise me at all.
She's seen them in concert maybe twice, at least once. Catalina loves Coldplay.
And I love Queen Cat. So.
I think also Queen Cat just loves Chris Martin, which I guess is fair. But as far as this episode goes, Don't Panic. I don't know.
Unclear.
I mean, Eli's no longer panicking. Ugh, I don't know. That's not really what his storyline's about. Katie's panicking her entire storyline.
Yep.
And I don't give a shit about Sav and Miss O. I don't know, the lyrics of this one is like, we live in a beautiful world. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. It's that one. And I'm like, those lyrics don't ring true for this episode for me either, because a lot of bullshit happens.
Just nonstop bullshit.
So whatever. I don't think the title works.
No.
Anyway.
We open with Marisol calling Katie Katiekins.
I also, if we want to jump into fashion immediately, I really like Marisol's like pink and purple Adidas bag. There's a lot of Adidas on this show now.
Yes. Very, product placement-y. Eli is wearing an enormous chain.
Yes.
In the beginning, his hair looks good, and then it goes back. But it looks good in the beginning.
Eli is looking a lot better now, and maybe it's just because I'm like, oh, he's healthy, and you can tell that he's taking care of himself now.
Yeah.
But I thought that in the episode after this as well. Drew is wearing a Katie for President shirt at some point.
There are many vests, I would just like to say.
So many vests.
Eli is wearing a leather vest. Bullfrog is wearing a jean vest. And Sav wears a vest.
Like a satin vest.
There are 3 vests in this episode, which is a fun choice.
Marisol has a terrible headband at one point. It has it's not polka dot, but it's like those, and it's not spiral, but it's like the concentric circle-y weird pattern on brown. I don't know. She also is wearing hoop earrings. And I like Katie's pink Adidas jacket that she wears at one point. I'm here for the Adidas, or Adidas is probably how you're actually supposed to pronounce it, but I'm not going to pronounce it that way.
No. Also, my final fashion note, less fashion, more just how a human looks. My friend that I sometimes watch this with was watching it with me last night, and they commented that Katie looks like if you turned a cat into a person.
I can see that. Jake got a haircut, too, and it looks better. I just found now Eli has a vest note. And what is Eli's necklace, which was the chain. And yeah, that's about all I got.
Real vest heavy episode.
So many it's just like, I guess it's just one of the few things you can wear over a polo, so it's still apparent that you're wearing the school uniform. I don't know. It's also 2011, so I feel like it's when vests were a thing.
Yeah. My friend who watches it with me was also very confused by the fact that they have to wear uniforms, but they're allowed to wear whatever they want over the uniforms, which seems weird. Counterintuitive.
It's weird. But how else would we know what their personalities were? Anyway, Katie's running for class president. Apparently Mo is running against her. And also, Marisol's being real shitty.
Yeah, she
about
says
it.
Triple XL. I was like, ew, fuck off. And also she says that Katie should be wearing a tighter shirt.
Right. And she's like, and I was like, ew, being triple XL doesn't make you unqualified to be class president, Marisol. And she doesn't need to wear a tighter shirt, Marisol. And then Drew comes over, or Drew like waves at Katie or something, and Marisol thinks he waved at her, and she's like, oh my god, he was flirting with me. And Katie's like, oh no.
Yeah, I totally forgot that Drew and Marisol went on a really bad date one time.
Yeah, went on one really bad date one time, and then she went off with Casey, and it's like, girl, when was the last time you even spoke to Drew?
Seriously.
Why are we back on this? Although maybe it's because she's like licking her wounds after Casey and needs another distraction or something.
I get that.
I don't know.
But also she seems like exactly the kind of girl who like as soon as her friend wants something, she wants it too. Or,
100%.
You know, like suddenly it's the most important thing, even though it was like kind of an afterthought.
She's like always comparing herself to Katie, so everything has to be a competition. It's
a really toxic friendship.
Yeah, it really is. I don't understand it at all. But we will get to that. Mm-hmm. And then we're with Eli, who's in therapy, thank God, and he's watching his play performance manic episode.
I'm glad I got to experience some of that.
And, oh, yeah, because you weren't on that one either. And then he says, look at those eyes. Those are crazy person eyes. But this therapist is like, you were having a manic episode. It's okay. You're, like, living with a bipolar disorder now. Like, you can be functional in the world. And then So then he starts listing like examples of people who had bipolar disorder who he's like, oh, it's a bad thing. Like Ernest Hemingway, Edgar Allan Poe. And then, okay. So which I'm like, yes, both of those men died tragically, but even though they were creatives. And then the lady's like, but what about Jackson Pollock and Vincent van Gogh? And I'm like, both of those people died tragically too. How is this trying to make him feel better?
I don't know if, I don't know. And maybe she's just being like, great artists in history have been.
Right. Like creative great artists in history have been bipolar, but I feel like the examples she gave weren't comforting if you knew like their history or anything about them.
Yeah. I don't know. Can I make some comments on Eli's?
Yes.
Okay. I like how they're doing it this go around. I like that they're doing it differently than Craig.
Yes.
I like that it seems to be destigmatized. Like most people I know that have any sort of mental health disorder like don't go around sharing it. Or at least something like bipolar, especially, it's still so heavily stigmatized that,
right.
You know, it's not like a thing you want to announce to the world, so you don't. But yeah, Eli is just like real open with everyone about the fact that he's bipolar, and
totally.
he's like, he seems to have like really come to grips with it. And I like that Degrassi is doing this thing where they're like, you know, we went through all the like introductory steps with Craig, and it was a big deal with Craig, but you know, now it's like however many years later, and with Eli it's like a different thing, and it's, I don't know, they're trying to like make it less of a stigmatized situation,
right? Especially because the way that it was, his diagnosis was introduced was kind of more of like an offhand comment within his conversation with his therapist, which I thought was cool. And then I also think that while we went through the introductory like absorbing the information, like understanding the stigma behind the thing and being worried about that with Craig. With Eli, I feel like it's similar to Crazy Ex-Girlfriend when she was like, before she got her diagnosis, she was like, yay, I'm finally going to know like what's wrong with me. I'm finally going to have an answer. And I feel like Eli is receiving his diagnosis with that kind of attitude where he's like, finally, we've identified the problem and now I can move forward. And it's like more of a, like, it's not a death sentence. It's more of like an answer to his problem, which I also thought was nice.
Also, bipolar disorder, I mean, it's so fucking stigmatized, but it is extremely, like, more than livable. Like, you can thrive,
right?
Like, while being bipolar as long as you get the right help and stay on your meds and like, find the right combination of meds. Like, just take care of yourself and take your medication.
Yeah, and I think that is definitely presented that way, where it's like, yay, now that we finally know what your diagnosis is, we can provide like the correct medication for you that doesn't make you feel sleepy or numb or whatever he was going through before.
Also, he wasn't properly medicated before because they thought he had an anxiety disorder.
Right.
Which I don't think anxiety medication would affect a bipolar person that way, but like...
Well, I mean, he just stopped taking anything.
Well, no,
you mean when he was
when
numb,
he was like lethargic?
sleepy?
Yeah. Like, usually if you're taking an anti-anxiety or an antidepressant, it makes you more manic.
Oh, does it? If you don't have it already, it makes you more manic?
No, if you are bipolar and you're on antidepressants or anti-anxiety, like anti-anxiety, not so much. That really shouldn't have done anything to him except for make him less anxious. Maybe, I don't know. But
maybe that's
but
where,
I know,
like...
but I know antidepressants for. Ow, sorry, I just poked. I got a tattoo yesterday and I just poked it really hard.
No, on your head.
on my stupid head. Because I'm a stupid idiot.
Kelsey got a tattoo on her face, in case anybody was wondering. No.
Sweet face tat. Just
bringing back that Mike Tyson
oh no, it's just a giant dick on the side of my face.
She fell asleep at a party.
Someone had a tattoo gun. It was a time. I'm not really sure. I'm not really totally sure about anti-anxiety meds, but definitely antidepressants. If you're bipolar and they put you on antidepressants, you become really manic.
That makes more sense.
But I think anti-anxiety too. It just depends on the kind.
Yeah, and the person, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, Eli is in therapy. He's on the right medication. He's making steps to like better his life, and the first step is apologizing because it's an important part of recovery, according to his therapist. And I'm very happy that he's getting help. And throughout the episode, when he is feeling bad or feeling like he's like getting angry or going down a bad path, he immediately calls his therapist, and it makes me so happy.
It's so good. This is the happiest I've been about Eli.
Yeah. But then
we are with Katie and Drew. Katie has agreed to talk to Drew about Marisol, but she's talking to him, and he's like asking her like out for like a soccer date. He asked her to go to
a soccer game, Canada versus the US, which I'm like, that's a great date for a soccer girl. Yeah, but then she's like, Marisol still likes you. I don't know. This is complicated.
She has friendship integrity, and I respect that.
Yeah. And he's like, but I don't like her. I like you. You should talk to her about it. And then Marisol comes over and is like, I know what you're talking about. You don't have to cover anymore. You're talking about me and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And Katie's like, yeah, I got the impression that he liked someone else.
Right.
Which is pretty smooth.
Yeah. Which is a very tactful way of easing into the information.
Mm-hmm. And I'm starting to like Mo, by the way.
Me too, because then he pops in with his campaign slogan.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
He's not popular, so he has time for you.
Which is incredible. That made me laugh. I was just delighted by that.
And then stupid Miss O comes over and gives Sav a burned CD that she made for him for his musical development.
Which, like, is so a thing I used to do for boys in high school.
That's like a thing that everybody did for someone they had a crush on in high school.
But I love that this is 2011, so Mo is like, that's what her generation does. And I'm like, oh God, I'm old.
She gave you a mixed CD. I thought he said that's our generation's code for let's get it on. Or did he say her generation's code? That's true. Yeah, I guess by now it's like, well... I don't know what the equivalent would have been in 2011. I feel like a burn CD still could have been a thing.
Playlist?
Yeah, but like, I don't know if Spotify was a thing yet.
I don't know.
That you would just share.
I mean, I continued to make people burn CDs until like...
So did I. I continued to make myself burn CDs like when I still drove. until I got one, like an aux cord for my car, and then just used my iPod.
Yeah, I think the last time I like actively remember making a burn CD was maybe like my junior year of college. So that was like 2011.